What's good, everybody? It's been a minute. It's your boy Devness45. I had to actually dust this mic off here before I started this video. It's been a little while. But I just wanted to check in, let you guys know everything's good with me, give you a little bit of a year in review, if you will, kind of what's been going on in my life, where things are at. Never slowed down. It's actually been probably crazier than it's been between work, family, trips, etc., trying to get some vacation and breaks in between the madness, if you will. A lot of ups in this year. Things great, but there's been some downs too, as most people go through life, through a year, etc. 24, they said, was not going to be easy, right? Year of the Dragon. They said a lot of things were going to come out. We see a lot of things in the media, whether they're true or false. We see a lot of celebrities under accusations, facing things, etc. I guess they were right? 24 was the year of the dragon, is the year of the dragon, because it technically is still 24 as we roll into 25 here soon. But I wanted to take this time, really let you know, yeah, you probably, if you follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, probably see photos, probably can keep up with me, trips, and what's going on in my life, some of the family stuff. We took, obviously, our yearly spring break trip to Florida. My dad spent some time out there, etc. Went to New York. First time I'd been to New York. I always wanted to visit New York. I know it's not the greatest place these days to go to, but it's still one of those states that if you haven't been to, I would recommend going. Walking Central Park, actually being a part of that, right? Downtown Manhattan, Times Square, seeing all that stuff, planting your feet there, if you will, right? And then we kind of capped off the year with going on a cruise with my father, my stepmother, I guess you'd call her my sister, and my brother-in-law. And was hoping that cruise, which was great, was enjoyable, regardless of what took place or what happened, could have been a time for me and my sister to reconcile our differences, to get past whatever issues, beef, you want to call it, we have with each other. Some of you may know, a lot of you probably don't know, but the start of this year, we got into it. We were all hanging out, me and my girl, my brother-in-law, and my sister. We were drinking, having a good time, playing cards, etc. And probably drank a little too much on both ends of both of us, and started to get into a disagreement, if you will. I'm not going to touch on what we were talking about because it really doesn't matter. But we didn't agree with each other. And instead of continuing to be able to dispute, argue, agree to disagree, I was pretty much told to get the F out of her house. I was pretty much blocked out of her life. Sent me a message like the next morning or the day after with big long texts saying why she was doing what she was doing and that I wasn't a part of her life anymore, and don't try to contact her and don't try to hit her up. And unfortunately, that's not how I feel you deal with situations within family. Unless somebody has done something so cruel to you, unless some family member or friend's done something that's unforgettable. This wasn't my fault alone. This wasn't her fault alone. This was both of our faults. But for some reason, he wants to continue to put the blame on me. And I'm not pointing fingers and saying I'm the better person or she's the bad person. That's not what I'm saying. I said not one of us were right or wrong. We're both at fault. But we're really both at fault because for some reason we can't agree to disagree. For some reason, can't be open-minded. For some reason, can't just say, oh, well, this is how you feel. Well, then screw you. You're not a part of my life. That's not what family does to another person. That's not what good friends do to each other. Right? So I touched on this after I talked about the cruise because it's kind of important. And it's the message I'm trying to get out here today to anybody that does still watch or listen to post videos. I was hoping, because we hadn't spoke since that incident, since I was blocked out of her life, hadn't seen each other, right? Again, she blocked me. I'm not going to try to chase her and reach out to her if she literally tells me, don't communicate to me, don't try to call me, don't try to text me. You're blocked. You're no longer my brother. So this cruise was planned before that whole incident in January. It was actually planned last, like around Thanksgiving of not this year, but last year. And I honestly thought that they weren't going to end up going anymore. And me and my brother-in-law, her husband, still text each other, more or less just when it's like Father's Day, right? Like he sent me a text, Happy Father's Day this year. Replied back, Happy Father's Day, brother. Hope everything's good. And then when it was his birthday a couple months ago, I sent him a text at my calendar, and Happy birthday. Hope everything's good, man. Hope all's good over there. And he's like, yeah, man, it's great. Can't wait for the cruise. Excited. So that kind of reassured that they're still in, they're still going. And finding that out kind of gave me a sense of a feeling like maybe she wants to try to reconcile this with me. Maybe she wants to have a conversation with me. Maybe she wants to get past this. So when we went, me and my girl flew out a day before we went on the cruise, went to my dad's, stayed there for the night, and then we rode with them to the port. Because then we were going to fly out of Orlando, close to where the port is. So when we got off the ship, we stayed in Orlando for a night, and then flew out of Orlando. We were by the airport. They had to obviously drive back to Central Florida, where my dad lives. And my sister and my brother-in-law they had it all planned to go to their house after the cruise for a couple days. So they were going to ride back with them and then fly out of probably Tampa, I think. I don't know where they're flying out of. But either way, so we got there before they did, because they were flying in that day, Orlando. And we got on the ship. We couldn't get into our rooms right away because we got on like 12. I think they say rooms are already between 1 and 2. No big deal. Stuff starts opening up on the ship. We go up to the top deck, the 15th deck, whatever, where the pools and the bars and stuff. And we're just sitting there like, I'll have a drink to take the edge off. And brother-in-law and my sister show up, and I do the thing that I feel is right, and I stand up, and I look at her, and I say, give your brother a hug. We hug each other. Day goes great. Day 1 goes fine. No hiccups, no issues. We all go to dinner. Everything's fine. The next day, we land in Nassau, Bahamas. Get off the ship. We go to Nassau. We go to a beach out there, and we stop at like Senior Frogs. We all have a drink, and my sister's already drinking something crazy with like tequila in it, and I'm like, whoa. She goes, yep, I'm drinking tequila all effing day. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like thinking in the back of my head, this is going to be. So we get to the beach. We're all hanging out. We're in the water, beach, drinking, whatever, talking, BSing. We get out of the beach. We're heading back to the ship. We go to like a rinse off area, whatever. And she's kind of distanced herself from other family people too. Not in regards to our situation, but for other things that she's had issues with other family members. Okay. And our mother is probably one of her closest people in her life. Consider probably her best friend. My mother's very close to me, but she's probably closer to my mom than I am to my mom. Because she's 7 years older than me, and she helped out a lot when my dad wasn't around in the early years, especially with me. Like if my mom had to work late, she was the one probably making me dinner at times, when she was 14, 16, whatever. So anyway, and I know about it. Me and my mom have conversations, and I know how bad it hurts my mother. I know how much it breaks her heart that her daughter doesn't really go up to visit her anymore at our cabin at their retirement home, that she doesn't really talk to her much or reach out to her much. I've had these conversations with my mom. My mom's hurt. And it really breaks my mother's heart too that her own son and daughter are now in the situation we're in. Which now throws off the holidays. This is the first year I will not be seeing my sister or spending time with my sister during Christmas. We can't have a family gathering with everybody, with my sister, my brother-in-law, my nieces, my kids, my girl. We can't do that. Now this year, I'm hosting my mom and my stepdad, and then our kids will be here. That's it. It's not like it's not like it normally is, and it's gonna suck. It's gonna be hard, but it is what it is. It's what we got to do. So jumping back to being at the shower or rinse off location, right? From getting off the beach, you get the sand off your feet and everything, the sand off. She had just all of a sudden out of nowhere mentioned something. We're just talking. You'd mentioned something about mom not reaching out to her, which I thought was extremely strange or odd. So I said, what do you mean mom's never reached out to you since you basically got in an issue with our stepfather and when you were up at their place and told them we're never effing coming back here, etc. I go, she doesn't call or text you at all? She goes, well, she does. She texts me and says, I miss you. I said, interesting. I'm like, so you're telling me that your own mother reaching out to you saying that she misses you isn't a way of her trying to reach out? I could be wrong, but I think to me that's reaching out. And I still keeping this very cordial, very civil, not yelling, not screaming, just talking to her. And I say, let me ask you something. Or she goes, well, she says she misses me. I said, well, that's not reaching out. She goes, well, she never invites me up there. And I'm thinking to myself, well, number one, we don't technically have to be invited. Just like you guys shouldn't technically have to be invited to your own parents' place, right? I mean, you could say, hey, what do you guys got going on this weekend? Oh, I don't know. We got nothing going. Oh, hey, we were planning to maybe come up, or I'm planning to maybe come up or come and see you. Like, you don't need an invite. You shouldn't need an invite from your own parents, right? Especially at this point in your life. And I said, what was the last words that you said the last time you were at mom's house? She said, well, we're never effing coming back here again. I said, I said, so you think mom even wants to invite you there if that's what you've said? She doesn't want you out of her life. She misses you. She's told you that. Maybe what you should do is when she tells you she misses you, maybe meet her halfway somewhere at a restaurant. Maybe take a day where you guys get together and you can see her and she gets to see you and spend time with her. Maybe you start there. And right from that, she flipped on me. Told me F off, ran off, basically. Left her husband, my brother-in-law, he's with us. He's upset too, obviously. And he's not taking any sides, which he shouldn't. He's like, well, maybe you just shouldn't have got involved in that between your mom and her. And I said, well, right, it's not really my thing, but it kind of is my thing because I hear it from my mother, how much she's hurt and all this other stuff. And I'm simply just trying to have a conversation to try to help mend things. And trying to maybe have her see it in a different light. Like, yeah, but you know how your sister is and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I get it. So we start walking back to the ship. We're all walking. And next thing you know, she comes out of nowhere. We hadn't seen her. And she just has her two middle fingers up. And she's like, F you. And I turn around and I said, listen, as your brother, I was literally just trying to help you. And she goes, you've never been my brother. And I'm like, at that point, I was like, okay. And I basically just, that pissed me off at that point. And I said, you know what? You need to do some thinking. And you need to figure out or realize what family means to you. And I walked away. And I left it at that. And I didn't talk to her really again the rest of the trip. That was on Saturday. On Sunday, me, my dad, my girl, we went to the sports bar, went back to the ship. We went to Kokokoi Island. We went out on the island for a while. And we're like, you know what? We're going to go back to the ship. And we wanted to see if we could catch the Vikes game. They were playing it somewhere. There was a sports bar on the ship. So we went to the sports bar. And sure enough, they had like Sunday ticket, whatever. They could put any games on you wanted. So we got a table. We got to watch the Vikes. We're sitting there. And then all of a sudden, my brother-in-law and my sister and my stepmom all come. So we're all sitting around, and she's kind of trying to small talk to me, but not really. She's more or less talking to my girl because she has no issues with my girl. And, it's all just me. In fact, when she talks to my girl or texts her when they're trying to talk about things, whatever, and my girl's trying to be like, well, you did block him. How is he supposed to do this and do that? She will just say, well, if your boyfriend, not her brother, not using my name, nothing, basically her boyfriend. So that's where it stands. The point of this whole story, this whole video, really the big part of my recap of this year, is to hopefully help at least one of you out that are in a situation, whether it's a friend, a family member, whatever. Maybe you guys are going through some stuff. Maybe you haven't talked to somebody in a while that's very close to you. That really means a lot to you. That's been a big part of your life. My sister is I guess I say right now, is a huge part of my life. She's been there. She's helped me through many hard times before, right? But I've been there for her too. That's what brothers, sisters do. That's what people you care about do for each other. But you don't block them out of your life, no matter what the situation. I can't say no matter what the situation is, because again, like I said earlier, there are some things that are almost impossible to forgive and forget. But a disagreement or an argument between two because they have different beliefs is not something you should just completely block somebody out of your life from. Especially somebody that's so close to you in your life and has been so close to you. All right? So if I can help one person with this video that's going through some situation like this, that would mean the world to me. Now, going forward, some of the people that have reached out to me, I've brought up things like, dude, I really miss your walk vlogs, I would call them, but they're really live vlogs. I'm thinking about bringing them back come spring. It's wintertime here now. It's too cold. There's too much snow. But the walks with Zoe, doing the lives, catching up with people, talking. I think it helps not only me just talk through my day, what's going on, what's happened, what's coming up, but I think it helps other people too because they've been able to connect when I did that in the past. Some people don't have outlets. Some people don't have anybody that can block them out of their life. Or maybe some people are in a situation where everybody in their life, it seems, has blocked them out of their life for whatever reason. And all they have is communities. All they have is people that they've built relationships with through the hobby or through online lives in chat or whatever it might be, right? So I feel it's important. And I feel like that's something that I really want to do again. And I think that's probably going to be more my focus if I do anything or continue to do anything with lives. Sure, I'd love to do auctions. But the reality is, at this point, I think the community on the auction side's dead, right? And I don't really, you can't do auctions and have 5 or 10 people in the live. It just doesn't work. I mean, if you want to sell like $1, $2 cards, sure, and do quarter bids and get a quarter for everything, that's fine. And not that I need to get rich or make a bunch of money off it, but at the same time, things have to make sense at some point, right? Like you can't just give everything away because you don't have the people in there that are interested or to bid like it used to be back in the day with my channel. And that's fine. I'm not complaining. I don't care. It is what it is. You move on, you do different things. Do I still do things in the hobby as far as, getting product every once in a while? Absolutely. Do I still get into some breaks, cheap breaks? Absolutely. I actually have an opportunity with a good buddy of mine. That was one of the big customers that we had at Triple Diamond Sports Breaks. He actually opened up a shop in Hudson, Wisconsin now. It's called Iconic Sports Breaks. You can check them out. They got a website, iconicsportsbreaks.com. They're on Whatnot, Iconic Sports Breaks. They do a lot of heavy baseball like Bowman Draft, Bowman Chrome, all the baseball type stuff, good product stuff. And they do kind of bigger breaks, a couple hobby boxes, maybe throw in some megas with it, etc. But they do some bigger breaks, so check them out. I do have an opportunity if I want to, outside of my main job that keeps me extremely busy and is doing perfectly fine on my end. So I don't know if I'm going to really jump on it or not. I'm still thinking about it. It would be a little bit of a drive every time that I'd break, and I'd probably only do it a night or two if I even did anyway. I haven't committed. I don't really know. I got to go check out the shop still. They want me to come in. I'm just kind of pushing that shop stop back a little bit because I know how it works. I'm going to get in there. They're going to be like, hey, man. They're going to show me the break room, and they're going to be like, this is calling your name. They're going to get me in that position to make me feel like I got to commit. And even though I don't, it's who I am. So don't really know, but either way, check my boys out. Ben's a great dude over there. Ben, we got Dave. He used to be called Rusty Santa. Triple Diamond, he broke over there. He's with Iconic now. So they got a good group. They got name now. I feel bad, but one of Ben's good buddies too that used to get in some of our breaks. Last thing, I just want to really just wish everybody safe and happy holidays. I hope 2025 is a good year for every one of you. Not only financially, just so you can get by, or maybe get some things that you wanted to get that you've always wanted in your life. I know materialistic things are not, to me, they've never been a big deal. I don't really care. I don't need a fancy sports car. I don't need any of that stuff. You're not going to be able to leave with it anyway. It's just flashy. Sure, if you're a bachelor or you're somebody who's trying to flex and trying to be the cool Joe and get all the girls and whatever, maybe that makes sense to flash some materialistic stuff, but that's not me, man. I'm old. I'm happy. I'm in a relationship where I'm happy, where I'm content, where I'll probably be the rest of my life, hopefully. But big thing is health. I hope that health in a good way follows each and every one of you and your family. I did lose a couple people, some not directly close to me, but people and some that were more close. So I'll let you guys know that Orlando shooting that happened, where those two kids were killed. A kid I graduated with, a buddy of mine, his son was one of those kids that was killed in that mass shooting. I can't imagine what he's gone through. That was his best friend. That was his right-hand man. And he was taken for no reason. He went to University of Central Florida. He was 19 years old. He was very well known, or a very good soccer player. He played for the University of Central Florida. He actually played on some other semi-pro soccer teams throughout the last couple of years. He was very good at soccer. He was kind of known. Just his life taken way too short. I lost another buddy that I graduated with. Same class as my buddy Tim that lost his son, Timo, that died of a heart attack. We're not getting any younger, right? His daughters had some friends over, and he ran to the grocery store or the store to get some snacks, their snacks for him or whatever, and he almost made it home because the garage door opened. So he hit the garage door opener on his car as he was getting back to the house, but he didn't quite make it. He had a heart attack, and the car crashed into his neighbor's yard and died in his car. 46 years old. Heart attack. Again, guys, life's short. Live it as you will. Hold the grudges as you want. Don't mend the bridges you don't want to mend. But don't forget that sometimes once something happens or you lose somebody, and there is an issue or you've had an issue, a loved one, a close friend, that you just were too stubborn to make things right, or you guys can't agree to disagree, you regret. Don't go through life regretting things just because you couldn't be the bigger person and say something. I tell my kids this all the time. After all this has happened with me and my sister, I tell them, I say, never, ever let what's gone between me and your aunt be something between any of you. You guys have issues, you work it out. You argue it out, you fight it out, but you get past it and you move on. And you agree to disagree. Because in the end, I'm not going to be around forever. Their moms aren't going to be around forever. Saying like my kid's mom, and then just in reference to my girl too, because I tell Parker and Jackson this too. We're not going to be here forever. At some point in your lives, you may need each other. You're going to have to rely on each other. That's what family does. Wishing you all an awesome holiday. Let's have a good 25. Love you guys. Peace.